What's up guys, Armada here, and in today's video we are gonna talk about Plup. Plup, after losing to Hungrybox at Smash and Splash in a very devastating, heartbreaking loss.
My man got full body DI, like, catches the jump, peace homie. Yep, and we take the trades.
Whoa! That stage spike kept Plup alive. 3 stocks before. They haven't meant a thing.
Oh, he didn't go for it. Oh.
Tech chase.
My man Hungrybox having a good time on stage.
Encroaching on your face.
Oh.
Get yourself out of that scary corner.
Yeah.
And he's not getting very much in the way of counter hits. And he's just like using and that's not like Plup mind gaming him. You can see him lifting a finger to scratch his nose. Chases him down. Recover.
Do it.
He actually did tweet about possibly picking up Puff for Hbox, which might have been, you know, a not so serious tweet. Not 100% sure, but I was also watching his stream, and this idea still seemed to have, you know, been in his head a little bit. But yeah, regardless if he's serious about it or not, I actually feel like it's a good topic to talk about. Partly because I've actually myself said in the past that I think Plup and then King, assuming that he, you know, starts playing more melee again, I actually do think if both of them play the Puff Ditto, it would be beneficial for them long term. And now I know some people might be like, wait, why would that be a good idea? Why should they not continue playing Fox? Or why should Plup nuts go back to Sheik, where King learned a matchup with Marth, and so on. So I'm gonna go over a few reasons why I personally think it could be a good idea for them long term, if they want to start winning more often against Hbox. And one of the main reasons would be that they both, or in this case, since we are mainly going to talk about Plup, could drop Fox. We normally see Plup's Fox pretty much only for Hungrybox. He occasionally brings out the Fox on FD, maybe Stadium, but mainly he does it against Foxes that he already is much better than, and most likely will beat with Sheik relatively consistently anyway. So his Fox is pretty much only very important against Hbox at the moment. And before people start asking about Sheik, I personally don't think that matchup is that good. I actually think Sheik kind of sucks in the matchup. But yeah, regardless, that's kind of off topic. But yeah, the Fox, he could pretty much drop Fox if he's not going to use it against Hbox anyway. So I think that could be a good thing, especially if he continues to play, you know, melee and ultimate at some events, both of them, you know. And then also, Puff would obviously, assuming he gets his Puff to a good enough level, would be a much easier character to maintain. Switching characters mid-tournament can be very tricky, especially if you have one of the more tactical characters as your secondary. So that would be much easier for Plup most likely to, you know, switch from Sheik to Puff than from Sheik to Fox. Then another important part in this is that Hbox does not really have that much Puff experience, like Puff Ditto experience, I mean. Like, yes, Hungrybox had played Puff for many years. He knows how the character works better than anyone else does. But the Puff Ditto, he actually does not have too much high-level experience in, if you compare to many other characters. When you see Hungrybox's brackets, they tend to be, you know, Foxes mainly, but then also, you know, like some Marths, some Sheiks, some Falcos. But it's pretty rare that you get to see Hungrybox play the Puff Ditto because the character is simply not that common. So he doesn't really have that much matchup experience, and obviously when Hungrybox plays against Foxes, he has a huge advantage in terms of having so much more experience against high-level Foxes than the Foxes have against Puff, right? So that's also like an advantage Hungrybox currently have that would be removed, more or less. And another thing here is also that King that lives close to Plup have a Puff and have played the Puff Ditto with Hungrybox in the past, while actually barely ever playing the character. They never really practices his Puff, and has actually brought it really close many times. Haven't really been winning games, but many of these games have been practically last hit. So if Plup can gain Puff experience in the Ditto with Mewtwo if they work together in the Puff Ditto, I actually think that might be their best chance of beating Hungrybox. They both, as we said, they wouldn't have to play a Fox that they pretty much only use for Hungrybox. They have the matchup that they could practice together, and long term maybe they could even get more experience in the matchup than Hungrybox has, because who would Hungrybox practice with? He doesn't really have any top Puff next to him, and Plup and Mewtwo, since Hungrybox never played against them, you know, over all these years, keeping his advantage, which I can respect, right? Play to win. He doesn't want to practice against people because, you know, he has the Fox experience regardless. They don't have the Puff experience to the same extent. But now, if Plup and Mewtwo does this, they could actually take HBox advantage and turn it into their own. So that's also an important part in all of this. And then some people might say that, yeah, but Hungrybox, he has played Puff for so many years, like it's gonna be pointless. The thing is, the Puff Ditto is designed in a way where you can't really destroy your opponent unless you are much better. And, you know, players of Plup's and Mewtwo caliber, I'm pretty confident that they, you know, given enough time, could pick it up well enough, right? The matchup doesn't really have too much in terms of execution. It's a lot of like spacing and baiting. And if Mewtwo and Plup grinds the matchup, as I said, I'm sure they can, you know, at least make it a possible threat in the future. So no, I legit think if Plup and Mewtwo long term wants to beat HBox, I actually think the Puff Ditto might be the best idea. And we actually, the few times we have seen Hungrybox against other top Puffs that are still, with all due respect, still quite a lot below his skill level, but we have still seen, like, I don't know, Toussaint took a game at one of the summits. I'm pretty sure he almost took two. Prince Abu some years ago, even though he lost 3-0, at least two of the games were like literally last hit. So even though HBox have never lost to a Puff, or since Mango at Pound 4 I guess was last time, we still have not seen like super, you know, convincing performances. And the thing is, as I also said like earlier, that the matchup doesn't really allow for destroying your opponent unless you're way better. So yeah, if you ask me, if Mewtwo and Plup is looking to win against HBox, I actually think this is the right thing. They could drop the Foxes, easier to maintain Puff if it only would be used, you know, in one matchup instead of like Fox in one matchup. And Hungrybox does not really have that much matchup experience, and long-term Mewtwo and Plup would have more experience in the Ditto than Hungrybox, and they would have an easier time to maintain high-level practice in the matchup. Some people might say like, oh, but what about like we get to see so much Puff? If this was successfully pulled off, we actually might see less Puff. Like, sure, you get to see a Ditto, which is 2 Puffs on the screen instead of 1, but if they successfully do this, then we could, you know, possibly see less Puff, because Mewtwo and Plup in this hypothetical scenario wouldn't use Puff against other players. But yeah, once again, this is all a very hypothetical idea. I'm not sure how serious Plup is regarding all of this, but if you ask me, if you're only looking to win here, then I actually do think Plup and Mewtwo should do this. But yeah, please let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think if Plup and Mewtwo did this? Do you guys think it could be possible for them to pull it off? Why not? And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.